Hello, I'm Adam, and this is my Segway GT1, which on first look it looks like it's same as the factory, but if you take a closer look you will see I've got second motor. Oh, there is even a heatsink on the front. There is a air suspension. So yeah, what this video will be about. I will show you how to throw away about 1000 euro into a hobby, because I cannot name it different. Okay, so at the beginning let's talk about specification, because yeah, summary of this video. So I've got two motors, I've got two VESC controllers, I've got my own battery 20S9P, I've got fancy knob to turn it on and off, because if you will have a VESC, you will have this button, and unfortunately that's the only way that you can turn on and off the scooter, the controller. So I did a remote with a relay, and it's tied to this button, and yeah, that's how it works. And there I've got XT60 charging port. Nowadays probably you will find a whole better set for XT30 maybe, but yeah, I had to be very creative, and yeah, it works. And yeah, so maximum speed over 100, but yeah, it depends on your weight, on the everything, to be honest. Watts, about 7 kilowatts per motor. Yeah, so those are crazy values, and yeah, it's a hobby. Don't try to explain it in other words. Now let's start with the battery, which is most expensive part of this project, to be honest, and was the hardest part, to be honest. So I did 20 serial, 9 parallel, and that means I've got a charging voltage 84 volts. And as you can see, my battery casing is 3D printed, and it's very tightly printed, but to be honest, I think that's enough. Fortunately, I was able to insert the temperature sensors of the BMS, and yeah, it's fine. I had to build a BMS mock, which I will talk about later. There was a challenge regarding placing cells, because as you can see, 180 cells, that's huge amount, and you have to put them equally. I used an internal resistance meter. I measured all cells and wrote the internal resistance on them. I was filling this battery about to half. Then I had like 60 cells remaining, and I decided to let ChatGPT calculate the remainings. So the rule is that I inserted every cell and noted which internal resistance is where. Then I asked ChatGPT to make a calculation. There is a special algorithm for that. I will post the name it there. And ChatGPT did the algorithm, and I was able to match the cells in the battery very even. I mean, so each bank has very same resistance to the another bank, yeah? And that was the target for that. And okay, after I filled the battery, of course it was tight, everything was tight. I had to, of course, spot weld it. And with those type of currents, there is no way that you will do it using most of the spot welders, to be honest. You need to buy something that has a lot of kilowatts of energy, because you have to spot weld copper with nickel strip. I used 0.2 copper. There are schematics to cut it like this, and I used 0.2 nickel strip, pure nickel, to infuse the copper with the cell, and that's how it was doing. And yeah, to be honest, it took like 2 or 3 days, and it's very dangerous, and it's very hard to do that because, as you can see, distance between banks is very, very narrow, like 3 millimeters or something. And with that type of current, there is no short circuit, there is magic disappearing, yeah? And because shortage current is totally out of this world, yeah? And okay, yeah, so generally I spot welded the whole battery. I covered it with tapes, Kapton tape and other type of tape to make it fixed, etc, etc. And yeah, generally that's all about the battery. And now about the cables. For the plus cable I used a 6 AWG cable. About 1 meter is enough because the whole battery is about half of meter, so yeah, that's enough. And regarding black minus cables, I use 8 IWG because those will be doubled. I mean, from the BMS I will get 2 8 IWG cables, so it will match the 6 AWG from the plus, yeah. And yeah, charging cable doesn't really matter, but you just use some comfort value that you currently have. What's the catch about BMS? I used and BMS, which I'm saying is the best BMS over the China market. What's the problem there? Dimensions. Because you need to fit BMS in a specific position. So maximal height for the battery and for the BMS is like 73 millimeters. That means you need to have very small BMS, but of course it needs to be active because you have to set everything, yeah. I went with this model of AND BMS, and the plan was to change the wirings to let them output from the BMS from the shorter side of the BMS. If you think more about traces placement, uneven utilization of those MOSFETs is reduced. To be honest, I rode a few hundred kilometers on this setup and this seems to work. One warning, guys, don't buy BMSs which are rated for lower than your battery will work. Because on the group I saw a lot of people were buying DALI BMS like 150 amp or 100 amp, and they were happy because the BMS is small. But guys, if the 100 amp BMS will fail, for example, it will short circuit the battery, I don't want to see how big fire will be. This is BMS, it's most important thing, and it needs to be over-engineered. It should be better. And in my case, I choose 220 amp BMS. So at current setting, I've got 135 amp current consumption. So I've got safe margin, and yeah, it should be working for pretty long time, yeah. And don't blow. Regarding the controller, I went for the Spintend VESC compatible controllers. And what does it mean? There are ESCs based on VESC. VESC is open source software that you can control everything on your scooter. I went for 2 singles, which are 85 volts and 150 amps. Those amps are phase amps. In general, I'm using about 100 amps, around of that. I didn't took a fuse, so I did no fuse, no Bluetooth on one, and add Bluetooth only on the second one, because you need master and slave, and master will have Bluetooth connection. I don't need a fuse because it will be connected to smart BMS, so yeah, I just don't need it. If there will be any short circuit, I will just the BMS will work, yeah, that's the case. And vertical motor cables are fine, and I was using them. And why Spintend instead of some FlySky or other companies? Because Spintend is the only one company that will correctly detect your motor and it will work. That's the only reason, and is really the best quality comparing to the other Chinese controllers, and you don't want to your controller burn. Yeah. There is one thing currently. There is one thing needed. There was a guy who was selling the GT Bridge. This is type of device that you connect to VESC controller and the GT scooter dashboard. But unfortunately, because of some accident, currently the only way to get a working scooter is to use maybe ADC adapter and connect everything that's needed. I'm not sure how this will work, but for now it's the only one option. Yeah, as you can see, there is a schematic, so yeah, throttle, brakes, so that's not too bad, but you will have to tinker, unfortunately, or wait until someone will redistribute those bridges again. Yeah. Okay, what next? Regarding VESC setup, you will need software for that, which is free. There is a very nice wizard, so generally that everything will be fine. Okay, next topic is anti-theft protection. But to be honest, regarding the dimensions and total weight of about 60 kilograms, I'm not locking this scooter anywhere. I'm just turning it off using the remote that I showed you, and there is a video about that. There is just a smart relay, and it's tied to the power on switch from the VESC controller, and generally that's it. If someone tried to stall it, I will just look and watch and laugh, because as I said, it's really heavy, so it's no way that someone will stall it. Even I've got bad time when I was trying to put it into a car, so good luck. But anyway, I've got this relay, and I've got a Mikodus GPS tracker. To be honest, I'm using Mikodus for like 5 years or something, and I'm using exactly MV710 model, which has a very wide voltage input, and yeah, without relay it is just only this device. You insert SIM card with internet, and attention, it's working on 2G, so be aware of that if in your country they are turning off 2G or 3G, whatever, just check it. And to be honest, it's working very great. There is an app named Mikodus, and it's free access, but I think you have to buy with the access, not sure, but it's official store, so I think it's included. And another cool thing about VESC is that they've got something named VESC Express. Generally, it's a simple Esp32 with a GPS module and micro SD card, and it's connected to the CAN, because those controllers are tied on the CAN, and there are DIY options. You will find schematics somewhere, and generally I recommend doing that when you are planning this project, because you will have nice logs of your rides. Yeah, and that's generally only the reason. Yeah. Okay. About motors, I bought motor from AliExpress, and I've bought front motor. I paid like 200 euros because I issued some discount ticket, some discount. And I recommend buying a GT2 front motor, because the cable is in correct length and you don't need to adjust it or cut it and change the connector, etc. But yes, motors are different. I mean GT2 and GT1, and the difference will pop out in motor detection. But don't worry, the motor has that power that you insert into it. So yeah, as I said, 7 kilowatts is about max value for those motors, regarding, of course, temperature. That's the point, yeah. And as I can see, there are connectors like this. Of course, those connectors needs to be removed. And if you will see the controller, it has this type of like banana plugs, I think 4 millimeters. Is it written there? Not really. Yeah, 4 millimeter bullet connector. To be honest, it's good to replace them. And I will post in description what parts I recommend to buy. And I replaced them for like 10 millimeters, much better, and I had to replace it there. And of course on the motor I had to replace them too, because there were just only that tiny connectors, yeah. Okay, regarding suspension, because as you may know, if you own GT1 or GT2 for a while, the factory suspension is like very soft, and generally you don't feel the road, and when having bigger speeds you need true suspension. So that's what I went. As for the front suspension, I went with the Rockshox model Monarch R, and its size 190 x 51. Between those collets we've got 190 millimeters, and this size is fine for the front. And for the rear we've got Rockshox Monarch RL. That means I can lock or not the chamber, and I will have totally no suspension. And in this case, with rear suspension, I've got even 50-hour service kit, because unfortunately we need to know that those suspensions after 50 hours, after 100 hours, etc., needs service. And service looks like disassembling everything, cleaning everything, replacing O-rings, lubricating, etc. Unfortunately, but that's the cost of having very nice suspension. But to be honest, 50 hours, it will take long. Whatever, suspensions. But there is another thing very important. We need to have correct collets to have to let suspension be compatible with GT1 or GT2 scooter, and we need something like this. I will write exactly dimensions and quantity in the description. So in total we need 4 sets. Those are to be inserted there. Oh, maybe like this. Yeah, whatever. We'll see later. And there is another one pretty stupid thing, but it makes sense if you consider it. Those are titanium screws and titanium, oh my gosh, rod? Not rod. Whatever. And washer. Why? Well, this is suspension. And if it's held on those screws, imagine on a bump it cracks. It would end terrible, yeah? So I've bought for like €1 each titanium screws, which are very strong and should not break. As you can see, Unfortunately, when you try to insert rear suspension, it won't fit, so you have to fine a little bit the mounting for this, and of course paint it because it's aluminum. So yeah, it's enough that you will use a drill with a disc to rub, and it will be fine because it's aluminum. It's pretty good to make it shaped. What next? As you can see, the battery fit is very tight, and you need to be aware of the dimensions. And my battery was totally ideally fit. I had to push it but it went straight, and fortunately it fits. Don't forget about straps that you will need to because it's 13 kilograms of the battery. Next thing is the connector, because as you can see, XT90 connector is like 90 is about amps. XT90 is a connector which you connect to the controller. But of course we've got two controllers, and I went with a QS8 connector which has 180 amps, and well, it's just bigger. As you can see, there is some symbol, and as you can see, those terminals are uneven. Why it's like that? Because there is a tiny resistor to pre-charge the capacitor, so you won't get shocked when you connect it. And I recommend buying XT90 connectors same as it. You can find those with this green marking, and as you can see, it's same. So when you are inserting the cable, it goes first by resistor, then it goes to the connector to don't have additional resistance. It's just anti-spark connectors, and I recommend using them because with this battery those currents are crazy. And remember about cooling those controllers, because as I showed on the beginning, there is a heatsink. It's 10 by 10 centimeters, and there is available for 3D print frame for that. We just need additional heating because there are a lot of power going through, and and another thing that is worth considering, your scooter is no longer waterproof. So when installing like everything, the BMS, the controllers, etc, silicone everything everywhere, every hole, maybe just leave some on the very bottom, but generally silicone everything, and be aware of hole which is near charging port, because as you will see if you open the clap, there is a gap that the water can go there. To be honest, I put some kind of sponge there, and I don't care about that. I don't like to ride in the rain anyway. But to be honest, this thing is too fast, and think twice before even considering this topic, and don't take ticket to heaven like our friend Jerome.